At this time, we want to have a moment of silence to recognize our friend David Wright's wife, the passing of his wife, and also the victims from the Boston Marathon situation last week. For a moment. Thank you. We'll call on Ms. Carter to call the roll.
Mr. Bone?
Here.
Mr. Cope? Mr. Fry?
Here.
Secretary Hargett?
Here.
Hayes? Here. Mr. Isaacs?
Here.
Mr. Jarvis?
Present.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Treasurer Lillard?
Here.
Dr. Nixon?
David Severe for Dr. Nixon.
Here. Mr. Walden? Mayor Wharton? Mr. White?
Here.
Comptroller Wilson? We have a quorum.
All right. Thank you so much. Our first item is to entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right. So second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. Right. Our next item is the approval of the January 31st meeting minutes. We'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the January 31st meeting minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. And I offer an apology to my friend who I forgot to give the sign that we were beginning. I'll call him. Sorry about that. Okay, we're now ready for my report. Just want to thank everyone for being here this morning for the work session. It was a great work session, some really good presentations. I also want to take this time to thank everyone that I've worked with over the last several years on the Tennessee Higher Education Commission. Today is my last time serving with you on THEC. It has truly been a pleasure, and it's been an honor to serve the great state of Tennessee. I've accepted a position in Kentucky, so I'm actually going to be closer to Nashville. But I won't be serving on THEC, but make no doubt about it, I will come over and sit in and just hang out with my friends in THEC and Dr. Rhoda and everyone on the staff at THEC. It has been truly an honor and a pleasure to serve with you all over the last several years, and thank you for the opportunity to serve as your chair for the last 3 years. It's going to be an experience that I'll never forget. My three passions in life is leadership, education, and economic development, and you've given me an opportunity to enjoy this great time in higher ed, and for that I'll forever be grateful. So thank you. Okay, I'll turn it over to Dr. Rhoda, your Executive Director's report.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, and guests, welcome. And Robert, to you, thank you very much. I know I speak on behalf of the staff about how through your entire tenure with the Commission and then with you as chair, it's been great to work with, and your leadership in keeping us guided and out of the ditches is much appreciated. So, and you picked a great time to be chairman. We've done some amazing things under your leadership.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right. My remarks will be brief, and back to your comment about the work session. What struck me this morning is kind of where we are in time, and Chancellor Morgan made some comment. It was in reference to the MOOCs about what we're talking about now. 6 months from now will be a lot different, whatever. But it really made me think that 5 years ago, if you had asked for the staff to predict what we would be talking about, I mean, we're using terms now with some frequency that didn't exist then. And of course, halfway between 5 years and now was the Complete College Tennessee Act, which again, who would have known that was coming with any kind of certainty? So all that is to say is what struck me this morning is that we're 3 years into the Complete College Tennessee Act, and by all measures, the purpose and promise of that act is being fulfilled, and now we're on to almost a second chapter under Governor Haslam. So part of that has been the appointment and service of Randy Boyd as special advisor to the governor for higher education. Randy couldn't be here today. It's amazing. He's with us what seems like 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, but he still has this other life, his day job and his profession in Knoxville. So he did have a conflict, and he regretted that. Having said that, I think his presence, his appointment, and his presence here with us has really moved things forward at a tremendous rate that we should just recognize and appreciate. But all the talk today about with Jessica and Wilson, and the talk about the complete college agenda, and their, about how we're helping students like we never have before, toward a completion agenda with the prior learning assessment, with the degree compass, and all the other initiatives. And now, as Mike Krause was talking about with Western governors and the MOOCs, it's just a whole nother dimension. So it's, I think all of us should be very thankful that we get to be a part of that, and for the benefit of the state. So, related to that, this is a very awkward segue, but there is a new development, or a continuing development rather, with Complete College. And Russ Deaton, you want to bring us up to date on the Ford grant?
Thank you, Dr. Rhoda. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Wanted to update you on the Ford Foundation grant. And to put this in context for you, THEC has always been entrepreneurial by nature. Our appropriation, which is around $2 million, we turn around into about $15 million in external funding for grants, much of which, of course, goes out to communities serving students, large programs like Gear Up, Race to the Top, and a constellation of smaller grants that are focused on activities like we heard about this morning. Another one of those now is the Ford Foundation grant. This is a 2-year grant for $500,000, the centerpiece of which is what is referred to as an ethnography, and that is a study of, in this case, an environment where you're looking for how a certain initiative, in our case CCTA, has changed a culture, in this case a campus culture. That ethnography is focused on the outcomes-based funding formula and how indeed, if in fact, and how that new formula model has altered campus behavior, which was the whole point of that exercise. And how so? How has it altered the way campuses go about everything from advising students to how they enroll students, the way they serve students, programmatic issues, and to really dig deep into a campus and to understand, talking with as many folks on the ground as they can, what has indeed changed on that campus due to the outcomes formula and the CCTA. Ethnographies are very in-depth. They are deep dives into a location. So we've partnered with Dr. Eric Ness, who's a professor at the University of Georgia in higher education, specializing in this area. He and his team will begin their study sometime this summer and fall at campuses yet to be determined with finality. And it'll be hopefully a fruitful exercise and a fruitful research project that really, I think, provides a bookend to the outcomes formula experiment, and hopefully it provides evidence that yes, indeed, this has changed culture, this has changed campuses, and it has had its intended effect. There are other programs in the Ford grant that are of note. Wilson mentioned one this morning, an ability to continue some prior learning assessment activities we're working with on adult students, some other areas of the grant as well. But that outcomes formula ethnography will be a centerpiece, will be something we talk to you about repeatedly over the coming commission meetings these next 2 years. It's very exciting for us.
Good. Thank you, Russ.
Sure.
And some of you may remember Eric Ness because he was a member of the THEC staff while he was completing his doctorate. And also you may recall what this really stems from was when Doug Wood, who's now the program director at Ford Foundation, addressed the commission. How long ago was that? Yeah, a couple of years. Perhaps 2 years ago. So that's where that came from. Switching gears, just an announcement. We've tried to keep you posted in the weekly updates, but we are going through a sunset review, a performance audit by the Comptroller's Office. We, along with THEC, TSAC, UT, and the Board of Regents, we're all now on the same cycle. So where we are with that, the scope of review has been issued. I think we have shared that with you, but field study interviews are going on now. There'll be a process which involves draft reports, our comments, hearings, and then ultimately next session of the General Assembly perhaps proposed changes as based on that study. But we will keep you posted on that. A couple more things. I would like to ask Jane Pennington to make a few remarks to you. Jane is the Chief Loan Officer on the TSAC staff, and she gave a presentation to the TSAC board at their last meeting which is significant, and I think it's want you to have the benefit of the same information. So, Jane?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, and especially to Dr. Rhoda for giving me a few minutes of his reporting time to talk about some exciting student loan news here in Tennessee. We're hearing so much in the media these days that's bad news, how much students are borrowing, how much they're graduating, the debt they're graduating with. So we are excited to bring some good news during this period of time. As you know, in 2010, the direct loan program took over the making of all student loans in the country, all federal student loans. So since that time, THEC has not been making loans, and we've had to redefine our mission and what we're going to be doing for the future. Even though we're not making new loans, we still have, as Russ mentioned earlier, almost $4 billion in our portfolio. That represents around 194,000 borrowers here in Tennessee. Most of those are either Tennessee residents or non-residents who've attended an institution in Tennessee. So we're concentrating on taking care of those borrowers and helping them to keep from getting into default. As Russ also mentioned earlier, the operating fund over the last 40 years for the Guarantee Agency and the student loan program represents the Guarantee Agency segment for THEC. That operating fund is somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 or $70 million. And the loan division is excited to see some of that funding being taken to hopefully fund an endowment which will help students furthering their education and keep them from having to borrow. So we've placed our mission on the student borrower, on how we can help these borrowers in Tennessee to keep from defaulting, or if they have defaulted, how we can help them come out of that default. These are just some of the figures as far as the phone calls and the emails that my staff deal with. We work daily, face-to-face, by phone and through email with student borrowers and the schools that they may be attending or have attended. Well, this slide is one of the most exciting I think I've seen. It emphasizes the licensing boards that we are doing a license revocation program with. So if a borrower has a professional license and they have a defaulted loan in Tennessee, we match them and we contact them and try to help them set up repayments so that their license is not endangered. You'll see here one of the main ways that we've assisted students, which is the rehabilitation program. This program takes a defaulted borrower. After 9 to 10 months of consecutive on-time monthly payments, their loans are purchased by a rehabilitation lender. Those loans come out of default. This helps our students, our professional licensees, and it also helps the institution to a great deal. And while this is a picture of the licensing board information, it's also indicative of our entire portfolio. We are emphasizing rehab and keeping those students out of default, or getting those students out of default. We've heard a lot in the national news about cohort default rates. In the past, it's been based on a 2-year cohort. Very recently, we start looking at a 3-year, but I've shown you here the 2-year rates. While ours have been going down, the national level has been going up. We were very excited this year to find that our rate has dropped to 5.5. This is the efforts of the staff working with the collection agency that collect on the loans, with our servicer, to get these borrowers out of default into rehab, and more importantly, to prevent them from going into default. Tennessee is number 7 in the nation as far as overall collections. We're number 7 in the nation as far as rehabilitating loans. So we're beginning to be noticed. We plan to try to make it to number 1 very shortly. Default aversion is another major part of this plan, and in the interest of time, I'm going to cut things fairly short. But this is a process where we try to help delinquent borrowers. This is before they have a chance to default. We get in touch with them, keep them from defaulting, and work with them across the state. We have 3 representatives now across the state working directly with students and with the schools where they're attending. I've given you a handout. Has lots of information. My card is in that handout. If you have any questions, please give me a call and I will try to answer them. Thank you.
Great. Well, I want to thank Jane for presenting that. And again, that's remarkable. I mean, she presented that rather matter-of-factly, which we appreciate, Jane, but I mean, that's really is an accomplishment. And I think it is a testament to Jane and her staff and this philosophy about it's a matter of keeping students, former students, out of a situation that you just want to avoid at all costs, and making the extra effort to avert default, come out of default, to be rehabilitated. So I just wanted to share that with you as a commission. Thank you, Jane, and your staff. Okay, 2 more things real quickly. A new member of the commission staff, Melissa Stugart. Melissa, please stand. Melissa just joined us in April, and she comes to us from Metro Schools, where she was a teacher. She is joining us on the academic staff with Betty and Mike as our Core to College grant director. And I think we've talked about that Core to College grant was the Lumina-funded project, and as Katrina mentioned earlier, about so that we are, in fact, talking with K-12 to make sure that our curriculum and expectations lines up with that of the high school. So, Melissa, we're very glad that you're with us. And the last one is recognition of a more senior staff member who was asked to attend the meeting under false pretenses. This is Tom Morrison. Tom is the head of our Veterans Education Division. As you know, THEC is the state authorizing agency for veterans education in the state. And it's one of those things that we do without great fanfare, but Tom and his small staff do a tremendous job. So what I want to tell you is that Tom, one of the unsung heroes, was recognized by the National Association of State Authorizing Agencies recently. He was asked to take on a task about how to cut through a lot of the delay nationally in other states, certainly not Tennessee. It's kind of a very narrow window here, but about veterans who are participating in apprenticeship programs and making sure they got their payments. And there was a backlog, so Tom was asked to take on this task, and I guess he, just as he always did, he pulled it together, got the information for each of the 55 state approving agencies, and got a report back to the national office within 2 days. One of those must have been a weekend. But anyway, I just want to tell you, Tom and his staff do such a tremendous job. You know, veterans are important to all of us. It's an increasing number, but there are some 13,000 veterans on any given month who are engaged in schools or in training programs in Tennessee, and on an annual basis, that's about $190 million of economic impact. So, Tom, thank you for what you do. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We're now ready for our system reports. We'll start with Chancellor John Morgan for the Tennessee Board of Regents report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll be brief because I understand that Katie has a slideshow for us to go through. I want to leave her plenty of time. But a couple of things I want to mention. First is Rich asked you if I would provide some updated information on our activities in Jackson, Tennessee at the Lambeth campus, the University of Memphis. And things are going very well. Y'all will recall that through a series of kind of unfortunate financial events, Lambeth was not able to continue as a private institution, and we were able to work with the local governments in that area, as well as the Lambeth management and folks here in state government in Nashville, to work out an arrangement where the University of Memphis could acquire out of bankruptcy the property that was the University of Lambeth University of Jackson. Last year really was our first year, so we're in our second full year of operation there. Enrollment this fall was 528 students. That's head count. It's not FTE, but that's over twice what it was in the fall of 2000, the year before. This spring enrollment dropped off a little bit, as spring enrollments do, but still is substantially over what our spring enrollment was in 2011. You may recall that we targeted by I think 2016-17, we would be at 1,000 FTE at the Lambeth campus. I believe we're on track to do that. We can see progress being made that would lead us to be able to reach that target. We are incrementally expanding operations on the Lambeth campus. The library now has been expanded, opening now during evening hours this fall. We have a full-time library director at the Lambeth campus. We have installed nursing simulation labs, health assessment labs, skills lab, testing labs, and so forth that are necessary to deliver the kind of science, STEM-based and nursing instruction. Computer labs. All of the classrooms have now been updated to be the so-called smart classrooms. I never did go to school in smart classrooms, but it wasn't because of the stuff, it's because of the students. But we've established an advising center, student resource center. A student council was organized this fall. There are 10 student organizations that were created by the students there, so it is very much taking on the character of a full service 4-year institution. We started out with degrees in business administration, elementary education, liberal studies, professional studies in a variety of areas, and a BSN, as well as an RN to BSN program. In the fall of 12, we added accounting, psychology, English communication, biology / pre-med, and then a BSN designed for transfer students. This fall, we will add a Bachelor's of Arts in Journalism with a concentration in public relations. And then we also offer several master's degrees around education, mostly around education and nursing. We have full-time recruiting effort now for Lambeth. It's also been incorporated and integrated into Memphis recruiting so that they're proficient in explaining the opportunities at the Jackson location for students who inquire, even as they inquire in Memphis, for opportunities at the University of Memphis. Variety of the kinds of activities involving the community that you would expect an urban campus like Lambeth to be engaged in, and quite a bit of regional development, regional outreach. From a maintenance and building facility standpoint, we entered into kind of a plan of corrective action with the Fire Marshal's office when we first acquired the campus. We have satisfied the things that we were supposed to do. We have in fact done. Major maintenance efforts are underway there that are being funded with campus funds, roof repairs, window replacements, those kinds of things. But we feel very good about our progress in bringing the physical facilities along to meet the needs of the school. This fall, one of those projects is the renovation of one of the dormitories there. The Carney Johnson Residence Hall is being renovated, and we expect that we will have residential students there this fall. We believe that that will be a good addition to the offerings at the university to create a more residential and learning community type of environment at Lambeth, which we believe will be very helpful in terms of delivery of our programs. We will be, and y'all will be seeing sometime here in the not too distant future, a master plan project to really have somebody come in and take a look at the facilities there and help us think about the combination of program and facilities development over time. So bottom line is we think we are making the progress that we thought we would make when this opportunity presented itself, and feel very good about the potential there for the Lambeth campus. I have one other item to talk about. Before I do that, any questions on the Lambeth?
If I may.
Secretary? Yeah, go ahead.
Chancellor, and I appreciate the update. You may have mentioned this and maybe I missed it. Are the students coming from where we thought they were going to come from? Do we know about the demographics of the students?
I don't have that detailed information, Mr. Secretary, but I think the answer is yes. I can do a little more exploration in that, but I think what has happened is what we expected to happen, and that the students are the types of students that we anticipated would be interested in a state four-year school in that area.
For example, I guess what I'm looking for, are we having more students who are coming from Jackson State Community College than we anticipated? Are we seeing students who might have been going to Memphis instead decided to stay in Jackson? That's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't expect you to know it today.
Yeah, I will suggest to you that Jackson State probably lost some enrollment to the University of Memphis at Lambeth. Although it's hard to attribute, Jackson State had a significant decline in enrollment. That was probably, of all of our institutions, that was the one that had the largest decline. Some of that is attributable to Lambeth, but when you think about it, students who would have gone to Jackson State to pursue general education opportunities that are guaranteed now to be transferable to one of our four-year institutions. The consequences of going to Lambeth campus for that general education experience is you get to pay about twice as much as you would pay if you went down to the next exit. So we don't think that there will be significant erosion of enrollment at Jackson State, but I think it's fair to say, and I believe Dr. Blanding at Jackson State would suggest that there was some erosion in enrollment, but not a huge amount.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The other thing I'll mention to you, I think most of you probably are aware of this, but after 12 years at the University of Memphis, President Shirley Raines has announced her intent to retire at the end of the fiscal year. So June 30, she will leave her post as President of the University of Memphis after 12 years really of significant contributions to the university and to the state, to our system and to the state of Tennessee as a whole. The progress that the University of Memphis has made under her leadership, we'll have more time to talk about that between now and June 30, but it is substantial, and she will definitely be missed. We have named an interim president who will, in fact, I think probably is on campus today, starting to understudy and work with Dr. Raines to get prepared for July 1st when he will become the interim president, and that is Brad Martin. Brad Martin is a very successful, well-respected businessman in West Tennessee, Memphis, former chairman of Saks Incorporated, has a long resume of successful business and governmental experience, was maybe the youngest member elected to the House of Representatives back in the, I guess, early to mid-'70s. I remember I started state government in 1976, and I remember seeing him in the hallways thinking he must be a somebody's staff person, but because he seemed like he was about my age. Well, he was about my age, but he was a member. I was the staff person. A very enthusiastic about serving in this role. Brad has served the University of Memphis in a variety of ways, both in terms of philanthropic activities as well as very practical kinds of roles that he has played with the university to assist. He's been on the Board of Visitors for a number of years, was chair of the Memphis Board of Visitors, and can bring to the university, we think, a very interesting and different perspective to look at the operations of the University of Memphis from a business operating standpoint, clearly, but also in how the university can move forward and build on what has been done in the past in terms of really close connection with the economy in Memphis and Shelby County and the region of West Tennessee. So we very much look forward to Brad's service. He has thought a great deal about this and is thinking a great deal about how he will approach things. Clearly, his interest is in recognizing that the academic structure of the university is in good shape. We have a new provost who started earlier this month, David Rudd, who we believe is going to be an outstanding addition to the University of Memphis. There's a good team in place there in terms of facilities management, student services, the other operating aspects of the academic enterprise are in good hands. So it gives us the opportunity then to get somebody to come in and take a different view and hopefully be able to spend some time there and really be able to lay out for the benefit of the next president kind of where the opportunities are to build on what has been done in the past. So we're very happy he's going to do it. He's basically he's working for about the same thing that Randy Boyd works for. So this very low cost expertise is good for us. And we're quite excited that he has agreed to serve in that role for the next year or so. We will undertake a search that will begin sometime this summer with the target toward having a new president named probably by the end of this calendar year to then take office, however that timing will work out for whoever's selected. But would expect to have somebody permanent in place by the end of June next year. So thank you. That's my report.
All right. Thank you. Great update. All right. We're going to ask Dr. Katie Hyde for the report from the University of Tennessee.
Thank you. May I use the podium?
Sure can.
This is going to be a long time.
I promise it's 45.
Be a good time to stretch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Dr. DiPietro has a conflict. He is out of state. He regrets that he cannot be here. He asked me if I would deliver some remarks and give you an update on some things that are going on at UT. Previously, we talked about a dashboard that the university had put together, and we're going to be talking about one element of the dashboard. It's the most important element as far as I'm concerned. It's the one that's called Enhancing Educational Excellence. And so I'm going to be talking about some things in that area. A couple of the brag marks that we've got, 2 of our campuses were named by Princeton's review as best college values. Those were the only 2 public institutions in the state to get that recognition, and that was Knoxville and Martin. And Chattanooga was named by U.S. News and Report as a best regional value. So those are things that we're very proud of. When we don't get on those lists, we poo-poo them, but when we get on those lists, we think it's real important. We're also pleased to talk about the robustness of the budget for higher education this year, and I know Russ talked about it in terms of the state, but Dr. DiPietro wanted to point out a couple specific things that the budget is allowing us to do this year. One is that there was some funding for some non-formula units. This is relatively, it's a relatively new phenomenon in this state to have those non-formula units be increasing, and there was an oopsie this year, and the non-formula units of ag research, extension, and IPS were inadvertently, we think, left off the budget. So there was an amendment passed, and we're very pleased that all 3 of those units got a 2.5% increase after the budget was amended. The full funding for CCTA has resulted in over $6 million to the University of Tennessee in appropriations. The Health Science Center is receiving $61.5 million of badly needed funds to help them renovate and do some construction on that campus. Knoxville received $3 million for its engineering program, and that's going to allow us to hire more faculty on the Knoxville campus in engineering and thus increase enrollment, and we think that that's going to be a big boon to the state. We also are receiving $24 million to convert our steam plant on the Knoxville campus. Butch, am I allowed to say that the steam plant was one of the big polluters in the Knoxville area? And if we are converting it from coal to gas, then we think that not only will we be more efficient, but we'll be more friendly and a better neighbor to the Knoxville community. We got $5 million to help recompete for a new supercomputer, And the supercomputer is going to be called Firefly. It would be at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. It will have 10 times the speed of the current supercomputer, whose name is Kraken. We got almost $3 million for a joint venture called UT Peds, and it's a joint project with the pediatricians at the Health Science Center. They'll be working with St. Jude, and they'll be working with Le Bonheur to bring in more research and practitioners in the area of pediatrics for the Memphis area. Martin got some funding for an expansion of the nurses program in Parsons. They got $1 million for that. And there was $500,000 that was garnered for something called the Law Enforcement Innovation Center. And this is something that our Institute for Public Service provides, and it does forensic training for law enforcement across the country. So that's a very highly renowned program, and they got a little bit of infusion there. We already talked at length about online education and the conversations with Coursera and edX, but as a point of reference, I just wanted to point out that UT currently has 43 programs that are completely online, and we also offer about 700 courses online. We have a lot fewer students in those programs than the Board of Regents, but we do have a pretty full menu of online offerings. This is my favorite slide. This is why we're having the slideshow. I wanted to show you this picture. There's a building on the Knoxville campus where almost all of the Gen Ed courses are held, and it's 48 years old. And we have been able to renovate 36 of the classrooms in that building so that they're smart classrooms. They've got snazzier looking desks. They've got better colors. But if you look carefully, there's no podium. There is no front of the class. So we're flipping most of our Gen Ed courses so that the materials delivered online and the classes are more of a discussion group. So we've done that in 36 of our classrooms in that building. We hope to be able to do that more throughout the rest of the university. Chairs are orange, aren't they? The other thing that we're doing that you may not be aware of is we're also doing high-tech instruction in the College of Pharmacy. If you want to be a pharmacist and you go to the University of Tennessee, you go to Memphis for the first year. But for years 2 and 3, you can choose to either stay in Memphis or take your instruction in Knoxville. If you go to Knoxville, your instruction will be in this building, which is adjacent to the UT Hospital, and all the lectures are delivered by video conference. You can capture any of those lectures and go back and look at them at any time. You can also interact. It's live the first time through, and you can interact with those faculty, and they do discussions and quizzes by the students in Knoxville using clickers. So again, we're using the technology to try to improve teaching and learning. Those are some of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Any questions? Thank you so much. Yep, Nick. That wasn't quite 45 minutes.
I know.
Okay, we're now ready for our first action item, and that is the approval of the new academic degree programs, and we'll ask Ms. Betty Dandridge Johnson to cover this item for us.
Thank you and good afternoon, Chairman White, Dr. Roeder, and members of the Commission. I direct your attention to Agenda Item 1A in your notebook, and that contains 3 new academic programs, and all of these program requests are at the TBR universities, and they will be presented separately. The first one being Austin Peay State University. The Professional Science Master's Program at Austin Peay is designed to produce individuals with high-level skills necessary to manage data and to make predictions using large data sets. The proposed degree follows the PSM model of integrating professional business skills with the STEM disciplines. The PSM program will use an interdisciplinary approach by incorporating faculty from the different colleges at Austin Peay. Courses in the two program concentrations will be taught by faculty from the College of Science and Math. The program will be offered solely online, which will have the added benefit of preparing PSM students for the challenges of working as part of a team using project management software. The professional science master's model was established by the Council of Graduate Schools, and currently there are over 100 institutions that have developed these interdisciplinary programs that are characterized by science and mathematics with skills-based courses in management and leadership with an internship component. In addition to the curriculum requirements, in order for institutions to earn a PSM recognition from the council, the program must have an advisory board. They also have to develop an assessment process, and also they must track their graduates. And Austin Peay's program will be seeking PSM recognition from the council. The PSM program addresses our Complete College Tennessee Act of increasing post-secondary credentials, especially in the STEM fields. The proposal requests meet the program feasibility graduates regarding mission distinctiveness, program need, and resource availability. And these three hallmarks of how we evaluate our new program requests. After the programs were evaluated based on these three, then there was an approval by THEC staff to develop a comprehensive proposal. There was a site visit that was conducted by Dr. Lynn Stokes, who is professor of statistics at Southern Methodist University. And the new graduate PSM program fits in very well with Austin Peay's mission. Dr. Stokes, who was the consultant, indicated that the university's infrastructure for online delivery of the curriculum was very impressive. As it relates to program need for the new PSM program, the Bureau of Labor Statistics projects a 14% growth in employment opportunities for statisticians. Also, government agencies and private organizations all project that there will be a shortage of people who are able to help organizations take advantage of the masses of data that they are collecting. And if you notice, during our work session this morning, there was a lot of discussion from our Policy Planning and Research Division here at THEC that we manage a lot of data from both the TBR and UT institutions as well as to Cool with the Hope Lottery Scholarship. The PSM program will be funded through tuition revenue. There will be a gradual implementation of the concentrations with the data management and analysis concentration, and that concentration will be implemented this fall, and the predictive analytics concentration will follow in year 2. The program will require a new faculty position in the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology. The program is also evaluated based on post-approval monitoring as it relates to productivity, enrollment, and graduates. This program will be attracted to students with backgrounds in computer science and mathematics who are interested in advanced training and interested in science careers in business and government. The program expects to enroll about 21 students in the data management concentration this fall, and by the next fall, with full program implementation, we expect to have about 44 students with 6 new graduates. This program, along with all of our new academic programs, we do evaluate them as part of our post-approval monitoring, and the program will be monitored on enrollment in graduates and benchmarks, as well as budget projections and attainment of the PSM recognition from the council. In summary, this new professional science master's program fits with the overall mission of Austin Peay and will help the state in increasing more graduates in the STEM fields. The curriculum design is solid and contains the infrastructure to meet the council's recognition, and the consultant was particularly impressed with the strong administrative support, including the department chairs and deans from the various colleges, as well as the provost. And the program has also been approved by the Board of Regents, and the THEC staff recommends approval of the Professional Science Master's Program at Austin Peay. Are there questions?
No, thank you. We'll entertain a motion to approve that new academic degree program at Austin Peay.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like. Thank you.
Before Betty goes on to the next one, if I could note, in the past when we've had new programs, Betty has presented them in the work session, and then in the full commission meeting, it's been like what we talked about in the morning, unless there are any questions. And I think enough of the commission members really don't get it because only those at the work session hear that. So you have a better sense of, a lot of work goes into developing these programs at the institutional level and staffing at the Board of Regents, as Betty indicated, the whole process. So that's why we're doing this afternoon.
Dr. Rhoda. The next new program is the new PSM program at Tennessee Tech. And this graduate program is aligned with the Professional Science Master's Model. And this model consists of business courses, the STEM fields, as well as an internship component. And the focus is on the professional business fields, and the other focus is on the concentration of environmental informatics. And environmental informatics is an interdisciplinary program whereby it uses analytical and computer-based methods in the study and management of natural resources as well as the environment. This will be a 33-hour program that will combine GIS with quantitative methods and modeling for natural resource applications. As part of the PSM model, students will take professional business courses, and they will do a capstone project. This PSM program also addresses our Complete College Tennessee Act, and the focus is on the STEM fields. As you can see where the environmental informatics program supports Tennessee Tech's mission. There was a site visit that was conducted by Dr. Randy Diamond, who is the Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering at Virginia Tech University. And he indicated that this graduate professional science model program fits in very well with Tennessee Tech's mission, as well as the Center of Excellence on Water and Manufacturing. And it also is aligned with the undergraduate program in environmental science and sustainability, as well as the PhD program in environmental science. And so Dr. Diamond indicated that the collective programs of specialty, along with strong information technology resources, were some of the strengths that this program offered. As it relates to program need, which is a critical component, indicated that the Bureau of Labor Statistics projected a 28% growth in employment opportunities for environmental scientists and specialists. As environmental issues become more complex due to population growth, this program will prepare students for careers to sustain the Earth's resources for future generations. Also, as it relates to program funding, the PSM program in environmental informatics will be funded solely through tuition and fee revenues for all years except the first year. Institutional reallocations will provide the financial support for the other needs of the program, and some of the expenditures include unlimited site license for the GIS software that is very critical to the program, as well as adjunct faculty to cover the capstone sequence, and it also includes graduate teaching assistantships. The PSM program expects to enroll 9 students in year 1, with 6 to 8 graduates annually beginning in year 2. And some of the potential employers for the graduates, which is a critical component of the program as it relates to the internship component, is that these graduates could be employed at the Tennessee Department of Environment, the U.S. Census Bureau, and the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency. We also look at the 5-year post-approval monitoring process, and this program is going to be monitored on enrollment in graduates as well as budget projections. And in summary, this new professional science master's program fits with Tennessee Tech's mission and the other STEM program offerings. The program is cost efficient through the use of existing faculty resources, and the consultant was also impressed with the proposed director's significant environmental engineering experience, as well as the qualified faculty from the other departments. Again, this program went through the same process. It was approved by the Board of Regents in March, and the THEC staff now recommends approval of the Professional Science Master's Program at Tennessee Tech.
Thank you so much. And I understand the president is here if you want to make some remarks on.
Well, thank you very much. This is obviously an important program to us. We're thankful for all the support we've received from THEC, from TVR to move this forward. We look forward to implementing it right away.
Okay. Thank you. We'll entertain a motion to approve this PCM program. At
So moved.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Okay, thank you. And the final program this afternoon is the Master's Management Program at MTSU. And this program is designed to provide organizational leadership and management skills and to focus directly on developing those management skills in non-profit and supply chain. This program will focus more on management and less on all functional areas offered through a traditional MBA program. This degree program will require a combination of 33 hours that will include the major field core, the concentration, and there are 3 concentrations within this program, the not-for-profit, the supply chain, and the organizational leadership. This program will also incorporate a capstone project where students will partner with an organization in industry or nonprofit sector. This new graduate program also fits in well with MTSU's mission of preparing students to thrive in their chosen profession. A site visit was also conducted by Dr. Don Connolly, who is professor of management at Michigan State University. And Dr. Connolly indicated that one of the program's strengths was the uniqueness of the 3 concentrations. And we did take a look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics to justify the program need and demand, and noted that the Bureau of Labor Stats projects a 14 to 35% growth in employment opportunities for the business community in these fields, and noted that the university did reach out to the business community in the development of these degree programs and concentrations. For example, there were partners for the supply chain concentrations, which would include Nissan and Walmart, United Way and the nonprofit, and then the Second Harvest Food Bank and Ford Motor Credit in the area of organizational leadership. The management program will also pay for itself through tuition and fee revenues. There's no institutional reallocation of funds to be necessary to implement this program, and expenditures are very minimum that include release time for faculty members to serve as the program coordinator, as well as there will be graduate assistantships. The implementation of this program is also expected this fall, with 20 students enrolled in the first year, and graduates are expected in year 2 with 8 graduates, and by 2017 there will be 24 graduates projected, and the program will be evaluated with their other undergraduate and undergraduate as well as graduate business programs with their accreditation site visit. In summary, the management program also fits in with MTSU's mission, and the program's strength is again related back to their unique concentrations that are linked with employment demand. And again, same routine, this program was also approved by the Board of Regents in the March board meeting, and now staff recommends approval of the Management Master's Program at MTSU. Any questions?
Thank you. No questions? Not, we'll entertain the motion for approval.
So moved.
Seconded. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you. We're now ready for our post-secondary authorization. We'll call on Dr. Stephanie Bellard-Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Dr. Rhoda, members of the Commission. I have 3 action items for your consideration today, and all the information is in Section 1B of your books. The first recommendation from the Committee on Post-Secondary Educational Institutions is for the reauthorization of the institutions that we authorize right now, and the recommendations are as follows. There's 291 regular authorized institutions, which means they've been authorized for 2 or more years, 96 for temporary authorization, which means they've been authorized less than 2 years, and 2 for conditional authorization. One of those conditions is for financial reasons, and one is for adverse action. That will make a total of 191 authorized institutions with 389 locations for the 2013-2014 fiscal year.
All right, do we have any questions? If not, we'll entertain the motion for approval.
Motion. Second.
All right, well, thank you. I have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you.
The second recommendation from the committee is in section 1B2 and 1B3, and they've recommended that the 4 institutions and the 89 new programs be granted temporary authorization and approval. I would like to bring your attention to one item on the new institutions. The University of the Cumberlands, which is located in Kentucky, is one of the new institutions, and 10 of their 14 programs require licensure by the Tennessee Department of Education to be employed. So I just wanted you all to kind of know the procedure that we go through. We work closely with the Department of Education, the Massage Therapy Board, the Nursing Board. Any board that requires licensure, we work closely with them, and we make the institutions submit their information to that board prior to our review to make sure that the graduates can be licensed. So all of those teacher licensure programs have been approved, and any Tennessean that graduates from those programs will be able to be licensed.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
If I may, on B and C, Ohio Technical College and Tennessee Professional Training Institute, I should probably know the answer to this question. But when a program is offered in a residential format, what is that?
For the Ohio Technical, they're recruitment only. We have 2 types of recruitment only. They actually recruit people to come to Ohio and come to a brick and mortar. And then we have the recruitment only that's online and some blended. So it just depends on the makeup of the institution.
Okay, thank you.
Are there further questions?
Well, can we go back, I think Stephanie, appreciate her saying what she did about, because we obviously don't want to put anybody, consumers in particular, in a position of being enrolled in a program with the intent of them being licensed to be a professional in the state of Tennessee when the licensing board would not allow that. So, and as simple as that sounds, it's Stephanie and her staff. It's been great cooperation with those other boards, but to get A to B, and some of the institutions have an issue with that, but I think we're doing the right thing.
Thank you. We'll entertain a motion, approval of the new programs.
So moved.
All right, we have a second. Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you.
My last action item, if you please reference section 1B4, and there are recommendations for Ms. Denise Bentley, Ms. Vicki Birch, Mr. Galen Hall, Mr. Stephen Stout, and Dr. Early Steele to be reappointed to the Committee on Post-Secondary Educational Institutions for a 3-year term.
All right. We have a motion on the floor for the approval of the commitments, the appointments to the committee. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, a second. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you.
All right. Lastly, I have one informational item. The rules that govern these institutions, we made some major revisions to, and the commission approved those rules last spring commission meeting. I just wanted to update you that those rules are now at the Secretary of State's office, and absent of the filing of the request for rulemaking hearing, they should be in effect September 28, 2013.
All right. Thank you for that. Okay, we're now ready for our informational items. And we'll start with the amendments to the fiscal year 2013-14 disclosed capital projects list. We'll call on Dr. Russ Eaton for this item.
This is item 2A in your notebooks, and this was discussed this morning, but to give you a recap and to walk through this with you. Capital projects, of course, come in 3 varieties. We have outlay, capital maintenance projects, and disclosed projects. That third category is what is before you today. Those are projects that are funded from non-direct state appropriations. Those projects are still included in the budget cycle, are presented to the Governor General Assembly for inclusion in the budget. These projects, the list is developed really in September, October, brought before you in November as part of the other package of financial recommendations we made, and then put into the Governor's budget in January. Between that point and now, additional projects come forward for possibility by the campuses for inclusion in the budget. Therefore, they amend that list for the next budget year at this time of the year. It is an information item because of the timing of the state budget cycle this year. As we know, the legislature has adjourned, and so by interim action, this list was approved by Dr. Rhoda a few weeks ago and then forwarded to Finance and Administration for inclusion in the budget. Again, Mr. Chairman, these are projects in item 2A, funded from non-state sources, and these signal a campus intent to bring these forward at some point beginning July 1 over the next 2-year period to the State Building Commission for action. Presented here as information, and I'll be happy to answer questions if there are any.
Any questions? Thank you for the update. Okay, our next item is the first to the top update. We'll call on Ms. Katrina Miller for this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commission members, and Dr. Rhoda. Earlier today, we talked a little bit about the Common Core state standards and the importance of what they're doing on K-12, and also the importance of how they're going to impact higher education and the students who will be coming to us in the next few years as freshmen. I wanted to share a little bit with you about specifically what we've been doing in Race to the Top around the Common Core state standards related to teacher preparation. Last year, we signed into a contract with the Ayers Institute for Teacher Learning and Innovation at Lipscomb University. The purpose of this contract was to make sure that all of our teacher preparation candidates, both at public and private schools, were very familiar with the Common Core standards and were ready to teach to those standards as soon as they entered the classroom. So what we did with Lipscomb University and the Ayers Institute was to develop some resources around the Common Core. If you Google Ayers Institute for Teacher Learning and Innovation, there's an Invest tab. If I can point to it, right here. And once you click on that, that's all of the resources developed under the contract with us at Race to the Top. Here you will find 6 videos, and these are full-length classroom sessions. While I don't recommend just watching them at your leisure, they're pretty long. They are very interesting for purposes of curriculum. They can watch these in the teacher prep classroom, go through these, and it's modeling good teaching and also showing what the Common Core standards will do and what they'll look like in the classroom. One video that might be helpful for you all to look at on your own time is this introduction video. It's a 7-minute video, and it gives an overview of the Common Core standards and their impact in Tennessee. All of these resources are free of charge to all of our institution. They're accompanied by a facilitator's guide with recommendations on how to incorporate them into the higher ed classroom, as well as some resources such as the student work product that you're going to see in the videos. And we also provided training to all the higher education institutions on this work as well as overall Common Core work. Just as a kind of an exciting thing that we found is we've already been getting calls from all over the nation about these videos, and we're actually having to develop rules and procedures around how we can share those across the nation. We've already gotten over 10 either nonprofit organizations or other states asking to use these resources. So it's one of a kind in the nation. We're the only state that's really going after our higher ed and making sure that we're all on the same page and implementing the Common Core. I can take any questions.
Any questions? No? Great update.
Oh, one more thing. If you didn't get the 2-page or the 3-page brief this morning and you would like one on information around Common Core, or if you want the longer 13-page version, I have extras of those available. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is an overview of the THEC statutory reports, and we'll call on Mr. Thomas Sanford.
Thank you, Chairman White, Dr. Rhoda, members of the Commission. This morning we went through an overview of the statutory reports that THEC provides, as well as other reports that we do on an annual basis and some of the research that we're currently working on. Additionally, we showed you the latest edition of the Tennessee Education Lottery Scholarship Annual Report. We will post those PowerPoint slides and the report online tomorrow, so you'll have access to them, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Are there any questions?
We did not talk about the fact book. I want to mention that.
Yep. We have some other things that we will probably show you at the next commission meeting, including a presentation on the fact book that we do every year, as well as we have developed a GIS mapping site we were hoping to show you sometime today that looks at educational attainment by county and identifies opportunities for us to look at for reaching the Drive to 55. So it's an interactive GIS website that hopefully all of us will be able to utilize. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is the Gear Up Tennessee status report. We'll call on Ms. Kate Derrick for this item.
Thank you, Chairman White, Dr. Rhoda, and Commission members. My name is Kate Derrick, and I am the Director of Communications for Gear Up Tennessee, which is a program based here out of THEC. And we recently submitted our first annual performance report for this round of the Gear Up grant, which highlighted our successes and work that we've done in the first year of the grant. I do want to say a huge thank you to all of our staff across the state with Gear Up Tennessee. It was a huge effort to get this performance report done, and we really did have a lot of coordination across the state to get all this data gathered. So first, I do want to give a very brief overview about Gear Up Tennessee for anyone who is not familiar with the program. This is our second Gear Up grant in Tennessee. We received last year the grant for $4.2 million per year for the next 7 years. We work in 15 counties across Tennessee, which you can see here, to promote college readiness and success by providing direct services such as mentoring, tutoring, financial aid counseling, and other direct services. Each of our sites, or as we like to call them collaboratives, include one full-time site coordinator and multiple community and education partners. We began implementation on the state level in July of last year, and then on the local level, that started in January of this year. One requirement of each Gear Up grant in every single state is that we turn in an annual performance report each year by April 15th. The annual reporting period goes from April 1st through March 31st, but because this was our first year, we started reporting in July. But typically we will go over 2 academic years because it starts at the end of one academic year and goes mostly into the next year. The purpose of the APR is to determine whether or not we're meeting the goals that we set for ourselves in the initial proposal that we sent to the U.S. Department of Education. It also does help determine continuation funding, and the U.S. Department of Education uses the APRs across the nation to determine the success of the Gear Up program. So next, I want to highlight some of the data and narratives that we submitted with our APR this year. We did a lot in the first year, considering it wasn't even a full first year. But we began implementation at the state level in July, as I said, and the Gear Up Tennessee staff has done a tremendous amount of work. Over the summer, we held a competitive proposal process in which we had a number of different districts across the state apply to be Gear Up counties. We selected 15 of those through a competitive process with external readers. While we were going through this external process, we also hired most of our state level staff. That included 4 new staff members. And then we also helped the districts, once we selected the 15 sites, we helped the districts hire an additional 21 site coordinators that work in our local districts across the state. We have a few sites that are much larger than the others, so we have a handful that have 2 site coordinators. During this time, our office also developed a 92-page implementation guide, which included all of our procedures and processes for implementing Gear Up Tennessee that we distributed to all of our sites. In November, we brought together all of our site coordinators across the state, as well as our project directors and some other local leaders from our Gear Up sites to Nashville to go over our implementation guide and our policies and procedures. And this kickoff event was also a great opportunity for them to share ideas, meet one another, and go over their work plans and really talk about the differences between their districts and also really share best practices with the work they were doing. The collaboratives began their direct services on January 1st of this year. In January and February, all of our sites held kickoff events, and you can see pictures of a few of these kickoff events. We were very proud that a number of them were able to get significant local media coverage. This included both television news spots and featured newspaper articles of their kickoff events. And these kickoff events were community-wide, many of them, so they invited parents, other students, and general community members to the event to really raise awareness of the Gear Up program and begin developing that college-going culture in their area. So a huge piece of the APR is data reporting. I want to give a huge thank you to Matt Freeman, who is our data analyst, and Leanne Boddy, who is not able to be here today. They really led the effort for the data reporting for the APR and pulling all of the numbers and working with the site coordinators to really collect every single activity that happened with Gear Up over the past year. In year 1 of the grant, we served a total of 12,114 students. Of that, 7,032 were part of our 7th grade cohort, and those are students who will graduate from high school in the year 2018, and we will serve those students through their first year of college in 2019. We also served 5,082 seniors, and that group, we will get a new group of seniors after they graduate this year. So we'll continue to serve the 7th graders as they grow, and then 12th graders each year for the next 7 years. We also served 589 teachers and educators through professional development services, and that included workshops and training about the college-going process to work with their students. We also reached nearly 18,000 parents through Gear Up Tennessee. This included, these are parents of Gear Up students, and this included meetings with our site coordinators, attending events, or getting postcards talking about the college-going process, or directing them to collegefortn.org, which is our college access web portal. So we really were able to reach a huge amount of people in a very short amount of time through Gear Up. And you can see here some highlights of some of the activities and services that we provided to students this year. We really did have a heavy emphasis on providing financial aid counseling and advising to students, both through one-on-one meetings and workshops, and also through tutoring and mentoring services. Our sites were also required to complete at least one job site visit and one college visit for both the 7th grade students and the 12th grade students. And we're particularly proud of this because for a number of these students, it was the first time they ever stepped foot on a college campus, and we were so glad we were able to give that opportunity to them. And we did have a number of them go to TBR institutions and University of Tennessee campuses for those college visits, which we were especially proud of. Here you can see a little bit of our breakdown of our student demographics that we serve through Gear Up of those 12,000 students. Any of you who are familiar with our last Gear Up grant will see that we have a much more diverse set of students that we're serving this time. We primarily in the last grant, we served mostly rural populations, but this one we have very much a mix of urban and rural populations and in between. So we are excited about this new opportunity to work with a larger and more diverse set of schools. And here again, we have a further breakdown of the students that we're serving through Gear Up. I do want to say that we are serving all of the students in the 7th and 12th grade in our direct service schools. So even students that wouldn't necessarily be identified as needing targeted interventions, we do serve them. And again, in an effort to create this college-going culture in these districts and encourage all students to share in this experience of wanting to go to college and having that aspiration. And here we do have some specific examples of some of the services and activities that were implemented in our specific districts. One that I really like to emphasize and I think was a particularly creative idea came from Gear Up Tennessee in Memphis. Gear Up Memphis partnered with Leadership Memphis, which is an organization down there that provides community leadership training. So they are partnering with Leadership Memphis to recruit Gear Up parents to the grassroots program, which trains community leaders. And what I think is particularly interesting is they're partnering with them to train these parents to be advocates for the college-going process and to really empower them to talk about going to college. And for us, this really is the heart of the Gear Up Tennessee program. It's not just about focusing on college readiness in school and getting students during the day thinking about this. It's going well into the community and making college going part of the fabric of every community. And I think that this program is one example that really hits that home. So now that we are almost done with, well, we're done with the APR reporting, but we're almost done with the academic year. So most of our sites are very much focused on year 2 and they're planning for year 2. We do have, year 2 will be our first full academic year, so we are requiring our sites to do twice the amount of events because they have twice as much time. And both on a state and local level, we are also very much going to focus on ramping up our assessment and evaluation for the Gear Up program. This year was very much about collecting the data and really implementing the services. And on a state level, we will have a formal evaluation partner we'll be working with in year 2 and beyond. And then our local sites will also be collecting more data about things like student completion rates and grades in their classes and student test and other assessment forms. In terms of our next steps, first and foremost is those year 2 work plans, which our 15 sites will turn into us by May 10th. We also have our Gear Up Tennessee Youth Summit, which is coming up in June. That is an event that we co-host each summer with the Tennessee College Access and Success Network. That will bring 200 7th graders, which we know what we're getting into, bringing 200 7th graders together for an overnight trip. But they're going to be meeting at Trevecca Nazarene University overnight, and there they will get a chance to meet students from the other districts. A lot of them maybe haven't ever met students from other school districts from across the state. We'll have workshops for them. We'll give them a chance to really meet with one another and again, kind of share their thoughts and aspirations about college. So that's a one-day event in June. And then we also have College Application Week, which is coming up September 30th to October 4th. That's a little bit earlier than we've done in past years. We moved it up to better match scholarship deadlines and to have fewer conflicts with fall break. All of our Gear Up Tennessee schools are required to participate in that, all of our high schools. And we're excited because a number of our Gear Up Tennessee middle schools that serve the 7th graders this year are also very interested in participating in College App Week. So we were very excited about that. But that is a larger statewide event. But we think of our Gear Up schools as some of the leaders and best practices in College App Week. So we have been able to accomplish quite a lot in just 1 year of Gear Up, and we're all the more excited for how much we'll be able to do when we have our first full year of implementation next year. But I just want to thank all of you for your support in this program, and we're very excited to keep working with it. So thank you for your time, and I am happy to take any questions.
Are there questions? I'll say that this is one of the updates that I'll miss the most.
Well, thank you very much.
Could you go back to the, I can't remember exactly which slide, but it was about the importance of filling out the FAFSA and the activities you're doing around that?
Yes. So we do a number of our programs. We do require that each site this past year had to do at least 2 events or workshops for students, and at least one of those events had to be about financial aid counseling. So a number of sites, we had a few sites that partnered with THEC to bring a THEC counselor in to help them fill out the FAFSA, and for the seniors to help them submit the FAFSA. We also do a lot of work with our 7th graders to talk about preparing and saving for college early.
Because there is a data point, Thomas.
Yes.
What is our distinction on that?
For all across the nation, the highest completion rate for high school seniors for the FAFSA of any state in the country. It's over 60%. There's only 2 that have above 60, but we're the highest, which probably is attributable to a large part to the fact that we require FAFSA for all of our state aid for the most part. So we did a study recently that looked at the Pell dollars that we received as a result of that requirement unintendedly. So we require students to get the fill out the FAFSA to get the lottery scholarship, and we believe that a significant amount of money has been driven to the state in Pell dollars that we would not have otherwise received had we not required the FAFSA as the application for state aid. So those 2 things are paying off TSACs, Gear Ups, hands on the ground, going out and meeting with students to try to get them to fill it out, and then we're seeing the results on the back end and the money that students are receiving from Pell. So it's very impressive. In fact, sorry, let me continue that. We were at a conference not too long ago, and people were absolutely shocked when the slide came up. Tennessee was the highest in the country, and they all wanted to know what we were doing. And we said we're one of the few states that requires FAFSA as the application for state aid. And several states said they were going to go back and reconsider that, including Florida. I think recently took a look at that and considering had it and then took it away, and that I think they're going to look at adding it again. So
Strike oil.
Well, I've got to believe this is a big part of it. So,
Mr. Chairman, could you go back to the map for a minute?
Yes.
Could be the pet safe.
Now, for the summit, students from all of those counties will come to Trevecca?
Yes, a total of 200 students. So it won't be each student from every county, but we will have representation. I believe it's at least 5 students from each county will be attending.
They'll be all 7th graders?
Well, rising 8th graders, yes.
any advice?
But
You want to go?
we, if you want to volunteer as a chaperone, we're more than happy.
He will.
Thank you for the update. Great update. Okay, our next item, we're going to call on Mr. Scott Sloan for the legislative update.
Now, just as a matter of information, you recall, usually the legislative report, by the time we get to this report on the agenda, it's a mad scramble. So in deference to Scott, his first real presentation of this and a landmark session, we have plenty of time, Scott.
Thank you, Dr. Rhoda. Good afternoon. I'm Scott Sloan, General Counsel for the agency. When I addressed you at the January meeting, I shared that the legislative leadership at that time set a goal for an April conclusion of their business. And it seemed hard to believe at the time, but as you may know, they did complete their business last Friday and adjourned late in the afternoon. So it provides us the opportunity to give you a good summary of everything that they passed. And I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight some of the key measures that came through this session. Senate Bill 59, sponsored by the respective Education Committee chairs, Senator Dolores Gresham and Representative Harry Brooks, authorizes and encourages teacher training programs at public institutions to offer coursework on neurological or brain science research. The sponsors wanted to communicate this as a priority to the institutions that have teacher education programs. Senate Bill 643, which is TBR-centric, also had Chairman Brooks as a sponsor in the House. Senator Jim Tracy carried the legislation in the Senate. And what this does is renames the state's technology centers. This was a priority for Chairman Brooks, who this year viewed the Technology Center moniker as due for a change. He felt the title Tennessee College of Applied Technology, along with the location name, was better suited for these campuses. That takes effect July 1st of this year. THEC was asked to make an addition to our annual fact book publication. Senator Reginald Tate and Representative Lois DeBerry sponsored Senate Bill 687, which directs us to include financial data about student activity fees in the higher education fact book. Specifically, public higher ed institutions are required to report annually a full accounting of student activity fees. THEC is asked to publish information on the expenditure of the fees as well as the provided accounting data on any funds that are not expended during the fiscal year.
That covers 6 weeks.
With regard to lottery funds, there were several bills filed this session proposing changes. One such measure that did pass is Senate Bill 36, sponsored by Senator Doug Overby and Representative Bob Ramsey, which establishes the Tennessee Step-Up Scholarship Program for students with intellectual disabilities. The program funds a 2-year individualized program of study designed to provide meaningful post-secondary activities including academic, career development, and independent living skills. All of this takes place on the post-secondary campus, and the program received $192,000 in funding from the legislature. Just as an aside, our Chief Academic Affairs Officer, Betty Dandridge-Johnson, that you heard from a little earlier, has been very active on a statewide task force charged with increasing awareness and developing programs for students with intellectual disabilities, including the step-up programs. These programs currently, there are 3 in Tennessee for these students. They take place at Vanderbilt, UT Knoxville, and the University of Memphis. Workforce development was also recognized as a priority this year, as was the need for solid data to support future policy decisions in this arena. As such, Representative Harold Love Jr. and Senator Reginald Tate sponsored legislation for a new statutory report from THEC. House Bill 566, known as the Skills for Jobs Act, directs THEC, in consultation with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, to produce an annual report detailing the state's anticipated workforce needs while also studying credential production. The bill also asks THEC to identify workplace needs, including areas of specialization within a particular vocation that are not being currently met by programs offered in the state. There were a number of bills filed this year proposing additional tuition discounts to various demographics, and the legislature chose to add the children of retired teachers to those eligible for a 25% discount at state-operated institutions. House Bill 283 was sponsored by Representative John Fogarty and Senator Mike Mellon. It allows retired teachers' children under the age of 24 to receive the discount. Eligibility requires that the parent retired with 30 years of full-time creditable service in Tennessee or having received disability retirement after a minimum of 25 service years. Prior to this bill, only the children of retired state employees were included under legislation that passed back in 1993. Many legislators, because of that and the differentiation, viewed this as a disparity that needed to be corrected. As many of you know, these programs have become something of a fiscal burden for the campuses because of how the funding is currently structured. Government relations staff from THEC, TBR, and UT communicated this to members this year, and as such, the Senate Education Committee asked that we perform a comprehensive review of the discount and waiver programs currently in place to see what options may exist for improvement. We've already begun examining the issue and will provide recommendations to the legislature in January. The issue of meningitis was a frequent news headline last year in both the higher ed realm as well as the medical arena. The news of an MTSU freshman named Jacob Nunley who died last year after contracting the disease was particularly unsettling, since students who live in close quarters are more susceptible to the disease than others. In response to these concerns, Senate Bill 93 was filed by Senator Lowe Finney and Representative Craig Fitzhugh. to create a uniform policy on Tennessee campuses for the immunizations. As passed, it requires the immunization against meningococcal disease prior to enrollment for incoming students who will live in on-campus housing at state institutions. These new students will be required to produce proof of adequate immunization as recommended for adults based on standards from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Exemptions to these requirements include circumstances where a licensed physician certifies in writing that the vaccine is contraindicated for or creates a risk of harm for the individual. There's also an exemption provision under religious grounds. In these instances, a parent or guardian is required to submit a written statement affirmed under penalties of perjury that the vaccination conflicts with the individual's religious tenets or practices. The next bill originated from meetings that Senator Mark Norris held with employers in his district who shared they were experiencing difficulty attaining the skilled labor needed for their manufacturing facilities. These employers stated that in some cases, expansion opportunities in Tennessee were being limited by a lack of qualified workers. As a result, House Bill 1276, sponsored by Representative Gerald McCormick and Senator Norris, establishes the Labor Education Alignment Program, or LEAP. The goal is to provide students at community colleges and technology centers, or as they'll soon be known, the Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology, the opportunity to participate in employment training and attain industry-recognized post-secondary credentials. The initiative directs THEC, TBR, the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, along with ECD, to collaborate in working with employers to identify and provide the requisite skills needed for today's high-tech industrial workplace. LEAP creates a statewide program that allows stakeholders to build on the best practices and communicate those to areas that are in need of workforce development. It also ensures that the conversations are no longer isolated to one state agency or another. Academic hours earned through the program will transfer into established pathways, allowing students who wish to pursue a higher credential later to do so. TBR has agreed graciously to develop this curriculum based on the feedback from employers. THEC was asked to serve as the coordinating agency in the initiative and will monitor and report progress back to the General Assembly and other interested parties. We'll also promulgate the administrative rules and program policies. There's also built into the legislation a future funding option to help the tech centers and community colleges implement the program. Subject to appropriation, ECD can draw from what's known as the Workforce Advanced Training Fund for grant awards after the program structure is established this year. The bill takes full effect next January, so we're now in the initial planning stages. This is an exciting initiative for THEC to be involved in, and we'll keep the Commission apprised of its development. That concludes, and I've been brief, our legislative agenda and update. If there aren't any questions, there's one other item that I need to speak with you about. If there aren't any questions, I'll be glad to take them. Yes, sir.
Was the Workforce Advanced Training Fund, was there money put into it?
There was not this year. There was not an appropriation. The word from the sponsors was that they wanted to create the structure this year and pursue funding of the program after we've got that structure in place next year. All right. I've got the next short item in your packets as well, which is the disclosure statement, item 2F. And we have placed in there for your review the policy as well as the form itself. The policy requires the conflict of interest form be filed with the Commission within 30 days after this meeting, and as such, we're happy to take those today if you're interested in dropping those off with us. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Well, first, I want to thank Scott for the presentation, but also he came in right at joined the staff right at the beginning of the session. So you talk about hitting the ground running, and given his background, his experience, he did that very well. But this was not an easy session. The fact that it was brief was great. But again, Scott did a tremendous job working with all of us. And good communication link, good working relationship with UT and the border regions and Kakua. So, very good job. And on the conflict of interest disclosures, please, if you can, complete them, leave them with us. If that's not possible or the commission members aren't here, Lavella will be contacting you to review.
Next item, I think, is an update on the next commission meeting?
Right. The next regular meeting of the commission, July 25th, Thursday, here, the same format. Any changes, we'll let you know as far in advance as possible.
All right. On the last item before we adjourn, Commissioner Greg Fry, I think this is his last meeting as well. We'll give you an opportunity to make any comments.
I have really, really enjoyed this. It's amazing how they say as you get older, how time flies so quickly. I was sitting here thinking about this, and when I was interviewing on the phone with Dr. Rhoda there, I remember almost the entire conversation of where I was at the time. I've really enjoyed meeting each of you commission members and the different guests. It's been a great opportunity, and I have just really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Enjoy serving with you. All right. If there's any other comments?
We have plenty of time. At 3 o'clock, we will start the Harold Love Community Service Award program. The program itself will be brief, but we do want to give due recognition to the 10 awardees this year. They'll be coming in any time now with their families and friends, so we hope as many of you can stay with us. Guests, members of the staff. There'll be refreshments, but we do need to probably clear the table and get ready for that.
All right. With that being said, thank you. We're adjourned.